The family's annual summer barbecue at my parents' estate was in full swing when my sister Rachel spotted the dirt under my fingernails. "Still playing farmer?" she smirked, adjusting her silk dress. "What is it now? Organic tomatoes?" I glanced down at my work boots, caked with rich valley soil from my morning inspection. "Something like that." "Emily's going through a phase," Mom explained to Rachel's new husband, an investment banker who looked uncomfortable around my muddy attire. "She bought that plot of land out in the valley last year. Calls it her sustainable agriculture project." What they saw as a plot was actually 2,000 acres of prime real estate. What they called playing in the dirt was a carefully orchestrated environmental restoration project that had attracted attention from sustainable development firms worldwide. "You should see her little garden shed," Rachel continued. "Remember when she turned down that VP position at Dad's firm to work with plants? Dad looked up from his grill. Could have had a corner office by now. Instead, she's out there with her composting and her solar panels. If only they knew about the meetings I'd held in that garden shed, a state-of-the-art research facility disguised as a rustic cabin. Or the international investors who'd flown in on private jets to walk the valley's fertile soil. At least let me help you find a real job," Rachel offered, her diamond bracelet catching the sun. "My firm's always looking for, well, I'm sure we could find something." My phone buzzed, another message from the development team. The plans were ready for submission to the city council. 5 years of careful preparation was about to pay off. "I'm doing fine," I said quietly, checking the latest soil analysis reports. The valley's restoration had exceeded even our optimistic projections. "Fine." Mom sighed. "Honey, you live in a cabin. Your sister's just bought her 3rd vacation home." Speaking of real estate, Rachel's husband chimed in. "Have you heard about that mystery developer buying up land in the valley? Some big eco-resort project in the works. Could affect your garden." I hid my smile behind my water glass. "I might have heard something about that. They say it's going to transform the whole region," he continued. "Sustainable luxury accommodations, organic farming, renewable energy integration. Billions in development." "Billions?" Rachel scoffed. "In that empty valley? Next to Emily's little vegetable patch?" Dad flipped a burger, shaking his head. "Who'd invest that kind of money in farmland?" My phone buzzed again. Plans leaked. Press conference moved up. "Your presence required immediately." "Actually," I said, standing up as news alerts began flooding everyone's phones, "I should head out. Have a meeting about the Valley project." "Meeting?" Rachel laughed. "With your tomatoes?" The first headline popped up on her husband's phone. "Revolutionary eco-resort development revealed. Valley Vista project to redefine luxury sustainable tourism." "That's right by your place," Mom frowned, pulling up the article. "Says here the developer owns the entire valley." 2,000 acres, I confirmed, watching comprehension slowly dawn on their faces. "Though I prefer to think of it as my garden." Rachel's wine glass froze halfway to her lips as more details emerged on the scrolling news feed. The development plans. The international investors. The billions in sustainable infrastructure. And my name listed as owner and CEO of Valley Vista Developments. The family barbecue came to a standstill as phones lit up with notification after notification. Rachel's husband was the first to break the silence, his banking instincts kicking in. You're the mystery developer? The one everyone's been trying to identify for months." I pulled up the master plans on my tablet. Not the public version leaking to the press, but the complete schematics. "Would you like to see what I've really been growing in that valley?" The holographic display sprang to life, showing a seamless integration of luxury accommodations with restored natural habitats. 5-star treehouse suites nestled in ancient forest canopies. Underground spa facilities powered by geothermal energy. Organic farms that would supply Michelin-starred restaurants. But you live in a cabin," Mom stammered. "A prototype," I corrected, switching the display to show my simple home's hidden features. Every sustainable technology in the development was tested there first. "Those solar panels Rachel mocked? They're powering the entire valley's construction." Dad abandoned his grill, moving closer to study the plans. His developers, I couldn't miss the scale of what I'd accomplished. This is revolutionary," he admitted, watching as the display showed how each structure would enhance rather than damage the ecosystem. The permits alone must have cost millions. Try billions, Rachel's husband whispered, rapidly calculating figures on his phone. The land acquisition, the technology development, the infrastructure. This is the biggest sustainable development project in history. Rachel's perfectly manicured hands shook as she set down her wine glass. All those times you couldn't attend my housewarming parties. I was meeting with environmental engineers, I nodded. Or negotiating with ecotourism experts. Or developing new sustainable building materials in my garden shed laboratory. More guests gathered around the display as it showed the project's phases. The restored wetlands that would filter the valley's water naturally. The wildlife corridors integrated into every structure. The invisible technology that would make it all possible. Those investments you kept trying to talk me out of, I said to Rachel's husband. The ones you said were worthless land parcels? They completed the valley acquisition. Every worthless acre is now part of $1 billion development. Mom sank into a chair, her social planning notebook falling forgotten to the ground. But you never said anything. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. Between Rachel's corporate success and Dad's traditional development projects, when would you have listened? My phone buzzed again. The press was gathering at the valley entrance. Helicopters circled overhead, trying to get shots of the development site. The official announcement is in an hour, I said, checking the time. You're welcome to attend, though you might want to change into something more appropriate for walking the site. Walking the site? Rachel looked down at her designer heels. In the dirt. In the future of luxury development, I corrected. Where success is measured in restored ecosystems, not square footage of marble. Dad was still staring at the plans, his developer's mind recalculating everything he thought he knew about his industry. This will change everything. That's the point, I smiled, pulling up the projected revenue figures. Sustainable luxury isn't just about preserving nature. It's about profiting from protecting it. Rachel's husband was already on his phone, likely calling his investment firm. The market implications, the technology patents alone, are already secured, I finished. Along with contracts for 6 more sites around the world. Turns out playing in the dirt can be quite profitable when you're growing the future. The display showed one final image. The valley transformed from abandoned farmland into a living testament to sustainable luxury. Every tree I'd planted, every soil sample I'd tested, every solar panel I'd installed had been building toward this moment. Now, I said, watching my family struggle to reconcile their simple daughter with the visionary developer I'd become, shall we head to the press conference? I believe there are some people very interested in my little garden. The gathered family members watched in stunned silence as my security team arrived, not in flashy luxury cars, but in custom electric vehicles designed specifically for the development. Ms. Crawford, my head of operations, approached, tablet in hand. The international investors are assembled at the site. The Sheik's representatives are particularly interested in discussing the desert adaptation possibilities. Desert adaptation? Dad's voice cracked. You're expanding to the Middle East? Among other places, I nodded, pulling up a global map dotted with potential sites. Turns out sustainable luxury translates well across cultures. We have inquiries from 12 countries. Rachel's perfectly highlighted hair seemed to deflate as she watched Forbes representatives set up for an exclusive interview on the lawn. But you never even finished business school. Because I was too busy building an actual business, I replied, accepting a tablet with the latest sustainability metrics. Though those environmental science classes everyone mocked came in quite handy. The sound of helicopters grew louder as media crews positioned themselves around the valley. My little garden was about to become the most talked-about development project in the world. The vertical farming integration, Rachel's husband was muttering, still running numbers, the water recycling systems, the renewable energy grid. This isn't just a resort, it's a blueprint for future cities. Now you're getting it, I smiled, watching more luxury vehicles arrive with potential investors. Those tomatoes I was growing? Test crops for specialized soil development. That compost system? Patent-pending biotechnology that's revolutionizing waste management. Mom's social calendar filled with charity luncheons and country club events, suddenly seemed very small compared to my afternoon schedule of international presentations and environmental impact discussions. Your sister's house in the Hamptons, I added, pulling up comparison data, uses more energy in a month than my entire development will use in a year. And it's 1,000th the size. Rachel's face flushed as several of her social circle arrived. Not as guests this time, but as potential investors eager to be part of the sustainable luxury movement. The press conference begins in 30 minutes, my assistant announced. The governor is on his way, along with the Environmental Protection Agency director and 3 UN sustainability ambassadors. Dad's burger-flipping tongs clattered to the ground. The governor is very interested in expanding this model across the state, I confirmed. Turns out sustainable luxury developments generate more tax revenue than traditional real estate. Who you? The family barbecue was forgotten as the estate's lawn transformed into an impromptu staging area for one of the biggest development announcements in recent history. Sometimes success doesn't look like everyone expects. Sometimes it looks like soil samples and solar panels, quietly revolutionizing an industry while others focus on square footage and marble countertops. As the sun began to set over the valley, the world's media captured a moment no one in my family had seen coming. I stood on the sustainable bamboo platform, my dirty work boots now a symbol of authenticity that had reporters scribbling furiously in their notebooks. Valley Vista isn't just another luxury development, I announced to the assembled crowd. It's proof that true luxury can heal the earth rather than harm it. The holographic display behind me showed the valley's transformation in real time. Living buildings emerging from restored landscapes, organic farms integrated with 5-star accommodations, wildlife corridors weaving through world-class amenities. From my elevated position I could see my family in the crowd. Rachel's designer outfit looked oddly out of place among the tech billionaires and environmental leaders who'd gathered for the announcement. Mom's social planning notebook remained closed. There was no need to plan status symbols into a project that had already redefined status itself. The waiting list for residential units, I continued, already exceeds 2 years. But priority will be given to those who demonstrate genuine commitment to our environmental standards. Dad's developer friends shifted uncomfortably, probably calculating how their traditional luxury projects would compete with this new paradigm of sustainable opulence. We aren't just building a resort, I concluded as the display showed the project's global impact projections. We're growing a revolution. One that started with a simple garden and will transform the very meaning of luxury living. The valley glowed with the last rays of sunlight, my little garden, ready to bloom into something that would change everything.